Welcome to Intactivist Voice. We have Eric Anderson with us, and he has come up with a way for the state to sue the hospital, and it's called a relator. And we're gonna stay on task as much as we can and give you the straight information on how you can do this yourself. So I'm going to leave it to Eric Anderson, and here he is. Welcome,
Okay.
Eric.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you. This is not for my own circumcision. However, the hospital is, as I say, where I was crucified on my third day of life. I'm not suing for money. I'm suing for an injunction. In Florida statute 60.05, and I hope every state actually has a very similar statute. I can sue a business that is in some way a nuisance or illegal activity is occurring, something that is against the law. And so, so 60.05 is related to that other statute. It'll be in the paperwork that I hope Dwayne will post. But, and then that one calls into play aggravated child abuse and battery laws and all of that. Of course, the argument, and this is why I don't understand 1.3 million lawyers in the United States, and they can't quite get a grasp on equal protection. But so I've been going pro se, and this is my 8th suit, but this is the first one, essentially, that is, I'm using Florida statute 60.05. Now, as soon as I sent it in, well, the first judge recused herself, and then the second, without comment. The second judge turned out to be the one that I thought would recuse himself, but he sent out a court order to prepare for battle. I still have to serve the summons on the defendant, the hospital, and they still have to file their motion to dismiss. That's what they always do the first time. And then I argue against that, and then we have a hearing on that motion. Now, if the case, I'm proxy of the state at this point. I'm relator. And at that point, if the case goes forward, the court notifies the state that they've got work to do, and they come in. No parent can batter their child. No doctor can batter a child. So a parent cannot exempt a doctor from the laws on child battery. So it makes no sense whatsoever. The lawsuit, I was talking about this in my last YouTube post, that AI helped me a bunch, because I've been writing on this for decades. And when I file a suit, I put everything in there but the kitchen sink. And AI said, no. What statute, what law, where did it happen? And they stripped it of all my rhetoric. And I was like, okay, I get it. Otherwise, you're just making the judge crazy.
Now we're talking about a Florida state statute 60.05, which makes you the relator for the proxy of the state.
Yes.
Now, that means the state is suing the hospital or charging a criminal act against the hospital?
No, that would be something that the state attorney would take upon himself. I'm out of that picture. But this is just for the injunction part.
Injunction.
Just stop it. Again, if we get through the defendant's motion to dismiss, the state will pretty much say, we'll take it from here. I don't know if they'll let me participate at that point. I hope that they do. So when you search online for how do FGC cultures, female genital cutting cultures, justify it? And it's all this thing about social cohesion, and they give the litany that everybody uses for male, the recitations, I call it. But these recitations are what an individual uses if they want to choose circumcision for themselves. You don't use these justifications for inflicting circumcision on another person.
Yeah, your choice stops at someone else's skin.
Of course.
You're the relator of the state. Once you start this injunction with the 60.05 state statute, then it's out of your hands. It's up to them what to do with it.
I think that when I looked this up yesterday, I said, who notifies the state? And the answer I got from AI was the court manages the case. It just said, if the case continues, the court will notify the state. And when I said continue, I took it to mean you get past the defendant's motion to dismiss. Filed it, it got assigned. This is procedural. The judge sends out this order of all the stuff you got to do to prep for a case. And now I looked this morning, because I look every day now, because I filed the summons with the clerk. The clerk has to say, okay, I stamped the summons. Then I get that copy back. I attach it to the complaint, get it to the sheriff's department. They serve the summons on the defendant for like $45. And that point, this defendant has 20 days to answer the complaint.
In order to get to the summons, we're going to start an injunction with the 60.05.
And that's e-filing. It's online, which really makes it simple because you don't have to run all over creation. The clerk does this step. They sign the summons before it's served. They say, okay, this looks good. And then you get that signed copy, just print it out and print out a copy of the complaint, mail it. I don't think the sheriff's department, I'm not in Sarasota, but I don't think you can do that online. Last 2 or 3 times, I've mailed it. So I mail it to them. They get it. In like 1 or 2 days, they get it to the defendant. The sheriff deputy stands there while whoever's at the desk receives it, signs for it, and then it gets back into the docket. It's filed online where I can see all the papers that are filed. And then I print it out. No, excuse me, I already did that. And then it's there, and then the defendant has 20 days to answer the complaint. And they'll 98 to 100% of the time file for a motion to dismiss. You plug that back into AI, say, AI, what's the answer to this?
So what is the exact injunction for? Is it mutilating children?
Yeah, it's for aggravated child abuse.
Aggravated child abuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Simple battery.
Simple battery, he calls it.
Well,
it's not so simple to the child.
No, it's not so simple to the child.
Yeah.
And here's another point that I wanted to make. If nobody's going over the wall, we are doing no better than the people who could not care less. And so, God bless Eric Klopper. I mean, it's irritating and it's wonderful. But Eric is building a battleship, and we've got all these drones, and we should be attacking all across the front. So while he wants, and other attorneys have said this, it's going to take $250,000 to get this off the ground, stuff like that, but it costs $500 to file a suit. It costs the court fee is $500. And now we have AI, which one of the courts told me, get an attorney. And I got onto AI, and now I feel like, I just hired 1,000 attorneys. And in OpenCase, which is a legal AI platform, between that and using Copilot and Microsoft Word, and OpenCase also has a plugin for Word. Now all of a sudden I've got thousands of attorneys working for me.
Yeah.
Thousands of attorneys. Yeah,
you just raised your IQ by 200 points.
Yeah.
And interesting. You mentioned Eric Klopper, and he had a saying when we were at the Intact Global conference that there is no silver bullet, but there is a silver buckshot.
I heard that. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. But
it's all of us. It's just going to take all of us, brother.
Yeah.
So injunction, proxy of this, you're the proxy of the state. And the next step, and is like, so you're waiting to see whether you're going to serve a summons to this hospital.
Now, I am going to serve, the sheriff department is going to serve the summons. Then they have the 20 days to answer.
Oh, they're okay.
Yeah.
So there has to be a summons. Okay. Well, that's worth $500 is nothing to
nothing.
This is recorded on record forever legally. A hospital's been charged with child battery by the state, state, no less.
Yeah.
Tell me what is my first step? I want to be a proxy. I want to sue this. I want the state to sue for me.
Okay.
But what's my first step?
Okay. In 60.05, it says a citizen of the county. So you're going to find the maternity ward hospital in your county.
What ward?
Maternity ward.
Okay, go ahead.
Because they have different names. I think in Advent Health, it's the baby place, and Sarasota might be the mother baby unit or something like this. But it's the maternity ward. And so it's supposed to be in your county. Now they use the word citizen, which is a federal status. I don't know, but I feel like I'm a citizen of Sarasota County, even though I reside now in Marion County, and Marion County is next. But Advent Health, and Advent Health goes on TV and tells me to feel whole, and I think, boy, you are gonna get wrecked talking to me like that. You're a citizen of your county. Find the hospital with a maternity ward. I'll send you the document, and feel free, of course, to run it through AA once, twice, three times. AA will argue with you some. Oh, we're not sure.
Yep.
AI.
Yep.
Oh, we're not sure if this is the right vehicle. I said, just shut up and write the damn paper. Yeah. Or if you have a better vehicle, just go ahead and let me know what it is. But I've tried writ of mandamus against the state attorney for the court to order him to enforce the law. And I've tried intentional infliction of emotional distress. And the judges said, the judges subjectively, that's the point, dismissed both cases. The one, the writ of mandamus, he missed the whole point about checks and balances, the whole point. And the one about intentional infliction of emotional distress, he says, well, the element of outrageousness is not there because a civil community doesn't feel that way about it. I said, if they don't feel that way about it, they're not a civil community. You know, I understand people are intimidated by the courts and this and that. And I'm 68, almost 68 years old. So it just took years and years and years. First, the discovery process took me into my 30s. And then the writing, which I'd been attempting since I was 15 years old, took another almost 30 years. And it's just an example of the CDC ACEs report. That's all it is. It's what the trauma does, the dysregulation thing. And then you've got your work cut out for you for all the rest of your life.
Yes. Yeah. That's for sure. I've been doing a lot of self-work. I mean, when you have lived with PTSD since a few hours old, and I'm going to count you in that 72 hours, you're 3 days old, you're a few hours old. When you live in PTSD your entire existence, it affects every aspect of your life. Yeah.
You become, it sends you up in your head because your mind races trying to figure out, well, how do I escape this? But that hypervigilance, it stays with you. And then ever since that day, I've been hunting this deal, because you don't have any idea. God, I spent decades theorizing about what happened to me. I knew something happened, but I couldn't figure out what it was. I had reports of the earlier behavior. It was already there. The anger and the acting out, it was already there. I say, anger. And you say, okay, that's a trauma. Where does it come from? And have you had your turn in court? Because if you hadn't had that, you're full of learned helplessness. You have a voice, you have a constitutional right of access to the courts, and this step must be made.
So this is our day in court.
Yes.
This is our day in court. So when we do the 60.05 and the summons is against the
complaint is against the hospital.
The complaint is against the hospital, and it's filed by the state. So it goes on record forever. And it's your day in court for $500. Again,
I'm relator. It's in the statute, and the state is the plaintiff, and I have to guide it past the defendant's motion to dismiss. And if we get to that point, then the state will probably provide a counselor, and I'll work with him, or he'll say, no, I'll take it from here. One of those two things.
How do you keep track of it so that you know that the summons, how do you know when the summons needs to be filed? And how do you said you had to get it past the motion to dismiss. How do you follow it through that?
Well, first of all, in my Florida court access, the e-filing portal, whenever I file a paper or whenever the defendant files a paper, there's automatic email distribution to both parties. So I'm kept abreast. Both parties are kept abreast all the time. And then I can still sign in to another site. And for Sarasota, it's called ClerkNet 3, and see the docket anytime and what's been posted. So there's two ways right there. And then you have email communication with the defense counsel, because you're supposed to be polite and professional. And there's certain things you have to confer on, certain motions you have to confer on, and the case management schedule, you have to confer on these things. It's just paperwork, you know. First of all, almost everybody in the United States is a native English speaker. So when you're dealing with the law, it's in native English. And it's written by people who are no more intelligent than you are, even though the law has that world of its own where you do this and you do that and you do it this way and you do it that way. AI kind of will prompt us on these matters. But so what was I just saying? So intimidation by the law, but no, it's just plain English. And if you speak English, you're 90% of the way there. The other 9%, I swear to God, it seems this way, is formatting. It is format this document with the case heading, case style. First time somebody said, well, you didn't do the case style. And I'm like, what the hell is a case style? But it's just the heading of the complaint. And you know, the margins and the double spacing and the font, and then you're 99% of the way there at that point.
Thank you, Eric. You've summed it up in a way that makes me feel embarrassed that I'm not doing it myself.
Well, I'll send you the document and take a look at it. I'll send you the complaint. I'll send you the judge's order, the procedural stuff, and I'll send you a copy of the summons form that I filed at the clerk's office, which I'm waiting for
all
them.
that, and I will put links to it either in the comments section or in the description itself. Somewhere there'll be links for all of that.
All righty.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, Dwayne.
Keep at it, brother. Keep at it. And
thank you so
because
much.
Because of you, it's going to allow more of us to sue over our circumcision.
Yeah. I think the guys that are really struggling emotionally will find it therapeutic. Fighting can be therapeutic. When you're cut off every other angle, just step up on them. All right, let's do this.
Yeah, well, cut off. That's an interesting analogy you used right there. Right? We started being cut off for sure.
Yeah.
Great, Eric. Thank you so much.
All right, Dwayne.
Have
Take
a great
care,
day.
man. All righty, you too.